Hello, hello, it's Bernadette. It is Saturday, June 22nd, and I haven't been on for a bit. I've been kind of MIA on social media for the last week or so. And so I thought I'd give an update. I've had a couple of people message me and ask me if I'm doing okay. Um, and so here I am. As you can see, my hair is thinning more and more, like more and more and more, which is part of the chemo ride. I am getting ready to do round 3 of chemo, which is my halfway point. I have 6 altogether. I've done 2. The third one is this coming Wednesday. So this weekend I've been prepping and getting as much caught up as I possibly can before Wednesday's chemo. But I have like my doctor's appointment, oncology, and lab work on Tuesday to make sure that my white blood cells and all my numbers are okay to proceed with chemo on Wednesday. Um, and then chemo on Wednesday. So where have I been? It's been a rough ride. Say hello if you're watching. I'd love to see who's on. Don't want to just be doing these by myself. I know we've got viewers on Facebook and on the YouTubes. So please say hello. Love to see who's watching. Just let me know you're there. Please, please. All right. So since I've been on last, I can't even I'm trying to track everything so that I can try and get a handle on this whole chemo ride, and it's rough. The last week and a half, I've been extremely, hi Andy, extremely fatigued, and very, very weak. Hi Pam, hi Rox. Oh, it's so good to see you guys. I did have, so I think it was Tuesday, I had called the mobile IV infusion people that come out. I mean, you can go to like these vitamin infusion places, IV infusion places, but because I'm on chemo and I have no immune system, I don't want to go out where other people are that are sick. So they came to me, which really was not that much more expensive and a whole lot more safe. But Sunday and Monday, I started to feel like I was getting sick. And Monday night, I think it was Monday night, I had a fever off and on and the chills, and I was sweating. And so Tuesday morning, I called and they came out. I think it was Tuesday. I can't keep track of the days. One of the days they came out. Um, and gave me a vitamin infusion, which helped a lot that day. I think it was Wednesday. It was Wednesday because I started to get sick Monday, Tuesday. And I had a cough and everything. And I mean, I got like the works. I got an immune booster for a vitamin B12 shot on top of the IVs and a whole liter of fluids. And I didn't realize how dehydrated I was. But part of chemo, one of the side effects is diarrhea, and there's nothing you can do about it, right? Like taking Imodium when you have chemo, it's kind of a no-go. Like you want this stuff to come out of your system. And as much as I'm trying to drink water, I guess it wasn't enough. But it's not just that. Like since the beginning of the cancer journey, my sodium levels have tanked a lot. And so I know I didn't have that much in me, but it felt good that night. Like they came out at 3:30 in the afternoon, and I could not sleep that night until like 4:30, 5:30 in the morning because I finally felt good after not feeling good for several days. And I was okay until like the next night. Like I had energy till the next night, and then I kind of tanked again. And it seems like I've been kind of off and on just weak. I mean, there's a couple days ago when I was in pretty bad shape, having to hold the walls to get to the bathroom, and hit this place mentally and emotionally the last couple days where it's like, am I dying? Like, is because I've only had 2 rounds of chemo. Like, it's really, you question, can I get through this? Like, what's going to happen after the 3rd round of chemo? My weight seems to be stabilized. Hi, Kim. I came on because you commented, and a couple of people messaged me. So just to give an update and let you guys know I am alive, but this week's been rough. I mean, the last probably 8 days has been really hard. especially because I know I have to go and get chemo again, and hoping that getting an infusion would help my body rebound a little bit before the next round because I was really bad. Um, and I'm still hoping that that little bit does help. Today was an okay day energy wise. Um, Part of what I discovered, because I'm trying not to take a ton of the pain meds, they gave me methadone and hydromorphine, so Dilaudid, which is they're very strong painkillers, and I don't want to be on heavy duty painkillers. I don't have that much pain, I thought, not compared to when I first was diagnosed with the cancer. I had a massive pain, and I every 4 hours had to stay on top of it. But I kind of got off of the painkillers. I haven't taken the methadone in a couple of weeks, probably 3 weeks, right after the last chemo run. So I did for the week of chemo. I think I took it once a day, and then just took the morphine every 4 hours when I needed it. And I was just stretching it to 6 and 7 hours. But I didn't take it for a couple days there. Um, and I didn't realize how many pains I guess I do have going on in my body and how weak it makes me when I actually have to deal with the pain. But the other day, I literally the day I had was it the day I had the infusion, I think. Part of the reason I call them is because my blood pressure dropped to like 98 over 53, and my blood sugar dropped, like everything was just tanking, and I was scared. And it's been like that off and on for the last few days. So I have not been around because I have not had the energy. I'm keeping up with what little clients I have right now in my classes, but for whatever reason, my body's struggling with this last round of chemo, and then I have another round coming up on Wednesday. So it's made me a little mentally and emotionally tapped, and I haven't been in a super good place to have a conversation, to come on here. I'm feeling better today, so easier for me to come on here. And here's the reality. I mean, it's like every other day I have new symptoms. So this is one thing I did not know about your nails. And I don't know if you guys can see, in your nail bed with chemo patients, it'll start turning, like on the ridges here, it goes dark and it'll go like almost black. And it's starting to happen on my nails. You get really bad ridges too, which I don't care about that, but it gets discolored to the point where it fills in black. And some of my nails now are coming in like on the bottoms black, which is weird. And I looked that one up. I was like, wow, I didn't even know that that was one of the side effects of chemo. Apparently it's a side effect of chemo. And it doesn't happen to everybody, but and it does happen. So I am staying on top of the pain meds at least once during the day and then once at night, because it seems to be helping not get me to the body chills, because I've been having problems regulating my temperature. So during the day, it'll be like 96.5. And like after my infusion the other day, it got up to 97.8, which stopped the chills. But it's weird because I'll get chills and I'll be like that, and then I'll start sweating, and I'm still only like 97.5, but I feel like I'm overheated. And that whole like constant cycle, it's just draining me, like super draining. I've had to spend more time in the house on the couch because I need to be close to the bathroom. And that's been a weird kind of deal too. So I have not been handling this last round. This last round of chemo, the second round was rough, and I have to start the third round on Wednesday. Hoping, and I do have another infusion scheduled for the 5th of July. Hopefully I can afford it. I just got a $2,000 bill from all of my CAT scans and MRIs from April, May. I They're like 30 days out, and I've never received the bill before. So, and it's all the doctors and radiologists. So yeah, I got to call them on Monday and see if I can get some sort of a discount on that one, and what the payment plan's going to be. Because, yeah, the fundraiser's tapped. It's just gone. So we paid all of the medical bills already, and I'm grateful, super, super grateful for that. But from a financial standpoint, I'm worried. And so my mental state too is like, you have to be able to focus. You've got to get back to work. You've got to start posting on your business page and send out email. And I haven't been able to. I haven't been able to sit at my computer. I also have to get a bunch of quotes for our homeowners insurance and our car insurance because it renews next month. And they upped our homeowners from $1,800 a year to $3,200 a year. And I'm like, no, like, what is that? So I'm the one that handles all of that between me and my dad. And then our car insurance went up ridiculous amounts too. And part of it is because we've been with the same company now this will be our 4th year if we stay renewed with them. And this happens every time. Like, you stay with the company for a few years and then they double and triple your rates. Last year they upped them quite a bit, but they were still better rates. I got a quote from Allstate. It seems like they're a little bit lower, so we may switch to Allstate. We'll see. Still waiting for my insurance broker because they said they're requoting 90% of their clients right now because the rates just jumped in Texas, and there's some weird premium with hurricanes and whatnot if you're in a hurricane region. So all of the rates, Texas, Florida, those kinds of places, Louisiana, all of them have just skyrocketed. So I'm trying to take care of all of that before chemo because we have to report it to my mortgage company so they don't pay the other premium, right? Yeah, it's seriously. I'm just trying to stay on top of everything. Meanwhile, I've got doctor bills coming in and I'm like, how am I going to juggle all of this? And it's the first. And so far I've stayed afloat, but things are getting really tight. So I'm like, I got to find a way to get back to work. But first I'm going to get through round 3 of chemo and see what I can do as far as getting my body back on track. And it is hot here. It's like so hot here. But I'm much better today. So I thought I'd pop on and just let you guys know I am here. I am doing okay. But I'm not going to lie and say I'm doing great. Literally the last couple of days, like, anyone that's tried to cheerlead me and make me feel like it's going to get easier, I'm like, you don't know that. And even, with my doctor telling me each chemo cycle gets easier, this last one wasn't easier. It was harder. And just the amount of fatigue and weakness, like literally cannot walk without holding on to something. Because it was raining here this week, I had an umbrella that I was going back and forth to the house with. And I've just kept using it to make sure that I'm stable, because a couple of times I thought I was going to fall over. And it's been rough. I don't know what else to say other than I'm getting through it, but I'll be honest and I was talking to one of my friends and she's like, you just got to get through every moment. She's been through cancer. And I kind of vented to her. I'm like, I feel bad, but at the same time, honestly, I wish there was someone I could talk to, really share how I'm feeling, because my dad knows what's going on. He's the one that kind of keeps a real close watch on me every day, but I don't tell him everything because I don't want to scare him, but he sees it. He sees how weak I am and he knows kind of to a point what's going on, but sometimes I just get quiet. So I was telling my friend, I wish there was someone I could talk to that understands trying to cheerlead me and tell me to stay positive and tell me that it's all going to be fine when I don't feel fine and I'm scared out of my mind. I've hit a couple of times this week where I have wondered. There's no guarantees with cancer and chemo. And this is real. So I have thought a few times this week, with as bad as I've felt, am I going to get through this? Everyone keeps telling me, you're going to get through this. It's going to be okay. But do they know that? Because I'm in my body And I don't even know that. And I want to think positive and say, yes, I'm going to get through this. But there are days, and knowing that I've only had 2 chemo rounds and I've still got 4 to go, like how weak I am and how sick it's making me. But I know I have to continue because the tumor, the shrinking has slowed down quite a bit. And I'll know more in a couple of weeks after they do the next CAT scan to see what the size is. But I have wondered, am I going to get through this? And night before last, or it might have been last night, I don't remember because I've been that sick. Part of me was just like, I surrender, God. Like, if I can't be here, if I'm not supposed to make it through this, that's okay, but prepare me, prepare my family. Everybody's expecting me that I'm going to be fine. And I was expecting I'd get through this and I'd be fine. But how I felt the last week and a half, it's like, man, this time after round 1, I was okay. I was starting to come back out of it. And it hasn't happened this last cycle, the second chemo cycle. I've had a couple good days, but I've had more bad days than I've had good days. And I'm pushing through the things that I have to do, right? To just barely survive financially. And it's like, it's not enough. And then I feel like a failure because I can usually push through and I haven't been able to. So I haven't been on here because I am pretty emotional about everything. And it's not that I don't want to hear people tell me that I'm going to be okay. It's just when I don't feel good and I know what's going on in my body and it's a day-to-day, hour-to-hour battle between fevers and chills and trying to get to the bathroom and trying to eat, having people tell me it's going to get easier when it's not getting easier, it's getting harder, makes me really upset. And then I feel like failure there too because I can't stay positive all the time. I don't feel good. And it's constantly a battle. So that's the update. I did get wigs and wishes provided, 2 wigs for me, which was really nice. It made me feel good for like the day where I could go out, and my daughter and I went to lunch. I got sick at lunch, so I couldn't finish my lunch, but it was nice to go out and I'd have a wig on and not have people stare and not be defined by the cancer. My whole life for the last 2.5 months now has been defined by cancer, and it sucks, right? God will supply all of my needs according to his riches and glory in Christ Jesus. Amen. I know. And he is, but I'd be lying if I said this was easy. And for anyone that's going through it, and there's people watching my videos right now that are going through it, you know what I'm talking about. Like, everybody wants you to be positive and everybody wants to tell you it's going to be okay, but they aren't in your body and they don't feel what's going on. And it's anything but normal, right? Like, anything but normal. And in the middle of the night, when you're fighting the chills and you're fighting weird coughs and you're like, am I going to have to go to the ER? Can I afford to go to the ER? Like, I'm avoiding any more doctor bills. Like, the only thing that I'm wanting to deal with right now is just go to oncology, do my lab work, and go to chemo because the bills are piling up. And I'm like, I don't want to go to the ER. And what are they going to do? Give me fluids? I mean, I know if I get a high enough fever, I have to go because I don't have an immune system, but it just sucks. I've been treating cancer patients 11 years. Okay. Thanks for the cannabis oil recommendation. I'm doing chemo and I'm sticking with that right now. And I think you've said that before. Cannabis oil is not easy to come by in Texas. It's not legal. If I was in Colorado, I would be, but just not. Yeah. So that's my update. I don't want to make this super long. But for the people that are going through it, or you're supporting someone through it right now, a loved one, understand it is a lot of work. to stay positive. It's a lot of work when you're physically not feeling good, and mentally and emotionally, it's been a roller coaster ride. Since round 2 has been a roller coaster ride with my mental state, my emotional state. If I'm working and I'm helping somebody else through their stuff, I'm fine. And I really have to prep myself quite a bit for the energy to help other people. But once I'm there, and spirit's flowing through me, and it's amazing. But once I'm done, I crash and like sleep and curl back up in bed, and it takes me another day to get back up again. If you're needed up there, it will all be good. Be strong. It's okay to let your emotions flow. Yeah. Well, I've just surrendered to the fact that this is what it is, and I'm not in control, right? God's in control. And I'm doing my best to get through the chemo. I had no choice once I decided to go ahead with it. I tried for over a year to treat the cancer by myself naturally, and nothing worked. I tried fenbenzynol, I tried ivermectin, I used Rife, I used magnets, I did everything under the sun. And I did do THC and CBD oil that I can get in Texas. None of it touched it. I did colon hydrotherapy with ozone, things that have worked for me in the past. None of it touched it, and it was super aggressive. So I have to do chemo, and I know I have to finish, and I know it's working, but at the same time, it's really taking its toll on my body. Like it's really taken its toll on my body, and it's rough, right? I mean, I have scars on my legs now from a little rash I got from the pool before I was even diagnosed. Like, it was in the ER that they discovered the rash, and that rash spread when I was in the hospital when they admitted me. And now I have scars on my legs because your skin changes from chemo. And at this point there too, I don't care. Like, the aesthetics, like how I look, I'm 57, like I don't care. I just want to live, and I want my body back. And it's hard because usually I know what to do to get my energy levels back up, but chemo's a whole other ride, right? Like, I weirdly have to eat fruit a lot. Like, I'm eating a lot of fruit. So like I have to eat fruit somewhere between 7 and 10 p.m. before I go to sleep. And then right when I wake up, I have to have a glass of orange juice to keep my blood sugar levels straight, because my blood sugar levels have been all over the place. I can't eat chicken since I got sick. Like, since I started chemo, I've not been able to eat chicken, which is weird. Steak, barely can eat steak. Like, I can't eat a whole lot of meat right now, and I need to get a ton of protein in because I've lost so much weight that I need protein. So we made some quinoa caprese salad. Quinoa has protein in it, so I'm trying my best, right, to get as much protein in and eat. But it's just been a ride. Like, this whole thing's been a ride. So I'll come back probably sometime after chemo, maybe during the first few days of my chemo treatment, because then I'm on steroids and I actually have a little bit of a burst of energy on the steroids. I have to talk to my doctor on Tuesday about tapering me down. My palliative care doctor's like, "Oh, if your blood sugar and your blood pressure drop like that, we need to taper you on the prednisone." So have to find out on Tuesday how she wants to address that, because he's like, "You're on too high of a dose to just stop cold turkey." Like, you're on a high dose all of a sudden, and then cold turkey, yeah, you're going to have the prednisone crash. So talk to Dr. Stewart and find out what they can do as far as dose tapering down so that it's not such a hard crash. And that's what I'm trying. You guys are sweet. Thanks, John. I love that you're on my team. I love that I have a team of people supporting me. But I do want to be honest about all of this. Like, part of the reason I haven't come on is because, like, I'm trying my darndest right now to keep it positive. And yet I still want to be honest with all of you. People are messaging me and I'm not responding, partially because, I go by the rule, like, if you've got nothing nice to say, keep it to yourself and don't say anything at all. So I tend to get quiet if I can't be positive and I don't have anything productive and whatnot to say, which makes it difficult because I'm holding a whole lot in right now. Like, I have a lot of fear going on as far as what this next part of my journey is looking like, right? Like, round 2 was hard, and I'm hoping round 3 is easier. I'm hoping my body can handle it, but it's not been easy just keeping in my fluids and all this stuff from all of the side effects with the chemo. It takes a good, I would say, 10 to 14 days for my body to detox all of it. And then I only have a few days before I have to ramp back up into another thing of chemo. But right now, like, I'm a week, not even a week out. Today's the 22nd. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 days, 3 days off, and then chemo on Wednesday. So, and it's a 21-day cycle. And I'm still detoxing chemo. Yesterday, there's a certain color to it when it comes out, a weird yellow acidy thing that comes out and it burns. Still getting it out of my system yesterday. And I didn't think that that was possible. I had chemo on the 5th. So I didn't think it was going to last that long. The first time it seemed like my body detoxed it much faster. This time it's going much slower, like much slower. And again, the side effects are just kind of accumulating one after another, and I'm just trying to keep up with all of it. Funny enough, I was going to shave my legs because I was sitting out in the sun the other day, and like a week or 2 ago, and I looked down and I'm like, oh, you have some hair on your legs, just random hairs. Like, I should shave my legs. Well, today I was sitting outside and we had the misters on, which tends to highlight any hairs. I have no hairs on my legs. I have no underarm hairs. I'm losing pretty much most of my hairs. I still have some of my eyelashes. They're pretty sparse, but all of my hair is just falling out. I do drink some Koya protein shakes, the plant-based protein shakes. I do have some that they gave me in the hospital. I haven't drank them. Protein shakes make me super nauseous. So even like my Koya shakes, I can drink maybe half of it. And they have a high volume of protein in them, but there's something about the taste of them that makes me really want to get sick. So, is there anyone you're comfortable venting the negative emotions to without feeling guilty about how it affects their feelings? One of my friends that went through stomach cancer and chemo, I do feel comfortable with her, but she doesn't reach out that often, and she's super busy. She's a mom of, 5 kids. She's got a lot going on, and she's a business owner as well. So I don't want to bother her. I kind of want to weigh her down. And if she reaches out to me, then we can have a conversation. But most of the time our conversations are on Facebook Messenger, and I don't really feel like that's the best place to fully express myself. For the most part, I just come into my little house away from the main house and journal if I have the energy to do it. And most of the time I just hold it in, right? So Melly's asking, what am I doing to support my immune system? I had the IV therapy people come out last week and do an IV infusion with I did an immune booster for, so it had all the B's in it. It had vitamin C in it, zinc, and a whole liter of fluids. And then they gave me a vitamin B12 shot, which was great, except it kept me up the whole night. So that was my first one. I have another one scheduled for July 5th because that's a day 9 after chemo. And usually day 10 is a really harsh crash day for me. So because I'm keeping track in my journal, I'm trying to put it like to where it's going to help my body the most. The first 5 days from chemo, my body's doing nothing but dumping. So it's like straight up diarrhea. Chemo's harsh, and there's nothing to slow it down. right? So I have to stay super hydrated, but you get dehydrated really fast. And then of course your liver's working overtime trying to get rid of all that stuff. And same with the limbs. Corona's juice, stage 4. And the breast cancer, that's what I do daily. I'll have to look that up. Lou Corona's juice. Here, let me write that down. I will look that up. Does it help your immune system? I'm assuming it does have good things in it. I am drinking a lot of orange juice. Orange juice has been my lifesaver as far as my blood sugar is concerned, and I'm taking iron. I'm taking vitamin D. I take so many pills during the day. There isn't that much more that I want to take either, but scared with stage 2 COPD. Can't imagine what you're going through. Stay as strong as possible. Lots of water. Yeah, I'm constantly sipping on water. And then my daughter, because of the taste of metal from the chemo, my daughter got me these drops you can put in your water that flavors it a little bit. And like there's lemon, and she got me like a blackberry mixed berry something one. And I finally cracked those open in the last week because water has been tasting horrible. And so I don't drink as, when it starts tasting like metal, I don't really want to drink as much. So doing what I can to force myself to drink, but you have no taste. You take 3,000 so I have a prescription from the doctor for vitamin D. So I take that daily with my iron because my iron levels are super low. The urinary tract stuff, all those issues completely resolved within 24 hours of them pulling that stent out, Paul. So yeah, Paul Vetter is asking if it literally within 24 hours of that stent coming out, I stopped bleeding, all of the pain, like I was peeing razor blade, all of it stopped. So it was the stent was causing hydronephrosis to my bladder. So even though the urologist did not want to believe that it was the stent, it was in fact the stent. And I thankfully did not have any problems past that. And have from my PET scan, they said there was moderate hydronephrosis still visible. But aside from that, my kidneys are emptying fine and yada, yada. I have a CAT scan scheduled sometime, I think next week after, not this coming week, but the following week after round 3 of chemo. My oncologist is supposed to schedule that. And then they look at my bladder and my kidneys too, on top of, they just want to get a size on what the tumor's doing, like what both tumors. So I have the one tumor, the large mass, that was 19 centimeters. The PET scan, it said 10 centimeters. And that was a couple weeks ago, I think 2.5, 3 weeks ago. And then this CAT scan will tell us what it is now. It's the shrinkage has slowed down. The first round of chemo, holy crap. It took that mass way, way down. As far as the follicular lymphoma that's inside of my large intestine, my ascending colon, it didn't give me a size on that one, like what that one's doing. And from what I understand, it's chronic. So it's something I have to constantly stay on top of as I go forward. Yeah, I have Pedialyte too. Hi, Cynthia. Rox is saying Gatorade is good. Gatorade has a lot of sugar. So I Pedialyte and I use the, what is it? IV hydrotherapy, whatever, the stuff you put in your water when my electrolytes get really wonky. But that too has a lot of sugar. And I don't want to do a lot of sugar. Sugar feeds cancer. Like fruit, natural sugars, I think is way better for your body. But you start talking like white cane sugar, not so much. One juice Leucarina swears by, it's called lemon ginger blast. There's another ingredient. So I used to do a lot of juicing and was doing a lot of juicing in the last 6 months before I got diagnosed officially. And I probably need to do juicing again. I just don't have the energy and honestly don't have the funds. Juicing is expensive. And I'm not working that much. Like my income has been cut by at least 60, 70%. And I'm getting by, but barely. So pomegranate juice. Yeah. All of that's good. and I appreciate that. And yeah, if I had the energy to be juicing every day, like my green juices, I would probably do it. But like from our fridge is full right now of things like cherries and plums, things that I can eat. And I know that I can eat them daily. So many of the foods and even drinks that I normally can drink, I can't for whatever reason. And the minute I take a sip of something or take a bite of something, my body instantaneously will tell me if I can finish it. And so much has been limited because I can't eat it. It'll make me vomit, and I'm on a lot. I have 3 different medications for nausea and vomiting, and I'm taking them daily because it's that bad on top of the diarrhea. So like I'm just trying to get stuff in and hold it. Like, don't get rid of it. Use it up for energy. But that's been part of the battle. The blessing is that I'm not, my weight seems to have stabilized. So I'll go up and down a pound. Like right now I'm between 103 and 105 and it's staying there, that makes me feel better just because I was losing between 1 and 2 pounds a day for the first month and a half. Now, from the size of my stomach, where it was very ballooned out from the tumor, my stomach's almost flat. Like I'm wearing, I've been wearing my shorts that are like size 3/4s, and I have to roll the top over to make sure they stay up because they're probably that too big on me. Like there's that much room between the fabric. And so I'm probably like a size 14, size 12 little girls right now. But I don't want to buy a bunch of clothes and I don't have the money, but like, I don't want to buy a bunch of clothes. And then after chemo, I start gaining weight again and I can't wear them. But literally like my shorts, my skirts, went to put on a skirt the other day and it was down below my hips. And I'm like, oh God, I couldn't find a safety pin to lap it over a couple inches to make it stay on. So I couldn't wear that. The whole thing it's been crazy. Things that you don't think about. You can sip a juice through the whole day so you don't overwhelm your body. Yeah, I like doing the shots too. But like literally right now we have no room in the fridge. Like I just went to the store today to get some more fruit. We have no more room in the fridge. Partially because like with leftovers, it's up to my dad to eat the leftovers because for whatever reason I can't eat the same thing leftover from the night before. Like my body just will not handle it. Juicing's expensive, takes lots of energy. It does. And I have a great juicer, but it's a lot of work. And when you can barely sit up for 5 minutes without feeling out of breath and fatigue, juicing is a huge chore. Seriously, it's a lot. And I don't really want to put that on my dad because he's 83 years old and he's taking care of me right now. He's my primary caregiver. My daughter helps with rides to my oncologist, but she's running my granddaughter around. Like my dad's it. And he's taking care of the yard and feeding the animals and doing all the stuff. Like I don't want to add more to him, and as it is, if there's nothing in the fridge as far as food goes that I will eat, he will drive to the store and find something that I'll eat. He'll call me and be like, how about this? How about that? Can you eat that? Can you eat that? Like, it's crazy how much this has messed up my taste palette and my appetite. And, like breakfast is my hardest meal because I wasn't eating any eggs for a good year and a half. And then because I need protein, I am. Some days I can eat eggs. Some days it's just like, nope, it's not going to happen. Can't eat a lot of things. Like breakfast is a hard meal. So I've kind of gotten over eating breakfast foods for breakfast because there's just healthy wise, there's not that much good food for breakfast. And I have to get my protein in. Right. So craziness. Anyways, I am okay. I'll let you guys know how I do probably sometime while I'm on the prednisone, the steroids after I get chemo. So probably day 4, day 5 before I crash from prednisone withdrawals. I'll let you guys know how I do with that round. I'm hoping my energy at least stays like it was today, which wasn't super energetic, but at least stable. I'm hoping it holds. I got tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday, chemo day. I know I'm just going to be wiped out. That's just how it goes. And the day after chemo, usually I'm asleep for taking pain meds because it wipes you out. My dad is. He is. You guys have no idea. Like, my dad is so amazing. It was so messed up because Father's Day, I had bought him a card 2 weeks earlier, right? On a day when I was at the store and I felt okay. Me and my dad had gone to the store. And so I got him his Father's Day presents early, and I got him a card because at that point, like, I feel okay. I'm going to take care of it now because there's just no telling, right? I can't predict how I'm going to feel from day to day, week to week. So come Father's Day, I put it somewhere in my room, and I remember doing it. Because of the chemo brain, I could not remember where. It wasn't until 2:30 that afternoon and going through everything 3 times that I finally found the card. I was like, I swear I bought you a card. I swear I did. And I finally found it. And then I gave it to him. And I was like, and he cried because I wrote in there a pretty long little thing about, I don't know where I would be without you right now. Like, you're my hero. Because yes, my dad, you wouldn't know looking at him that he's 83. And he's in really good shape, right? He really is. But I'm his little girl and I'm the baby, and I've taken care of him all these years since 2004. And he had throat cancer right before he moved in with me, but he was going downhill. And I'm like, just come sell your house, come live with me. I have 2 master bedrooms. This is when I lived in Colorado. Like, come live with me. And we got his health back on track and working on a on a little ranch. He was pretty busy. And so my dad, and I believe this to be true because all the farmers out where we used to live, like, the more active they were, the healthier they were. So he's pretty active. He's got his little list of things he does, right? Yeah, you remember when he got sick? Yeah, I mean, we've had some close calls with my dad. He was in a coma in 2010 right after I had neck surgery. I mean, we've had some close calls, but I've gotten his health back with him. He's listened to me. He juices. He does all the things I tell him. And thankfully he is in good health right now because he is taking care of me like a hawk. He's watching me like a hawk. So I appreciate it. He's gotten over asking me how I'm doing. Now he just asks, are you okay? So that's the question now. Like, cause I barked at him a couple times and he's like, how are you feeling? And I'm like, Dad, how do I look? And he's like, you don't look good. All right. So now he just says, are you okay? Do you need anything? That's his questions for me now because those don't irritate me. And it's just a weird thing. Like, people asking me, how are you feeling? Like, I feel like I have cancer. I feel like shit. How are you feeling? Right? Like, I know people want to hear I'm feeling great, but on the days when I'm not, which has been a lot of the days this last round of chemo, I just don't even want to answer the question. It's like, I'm not doing well. How am I feeling? I feel like crap, right? Like, I feel like I have cancer. How are you? I don't know what to say on those days when I just can't pull it together enough. I know people want to hear I'm doing good, I'm fine, but there's been a lot of days this last couple of weeks I have not felt good and I have not felt fine, right? So when my dad asks me, are you okay? What he's asking is, are you going to pass out? And do you need to go to the doctor? Do I need to do anything? Like, he comes in and checks on me if I don't come out of my little house. If he texts me and I don't answer, or if I stay asleep for too long, he will come over here and he will check on me to find out if I have a fever or if I'm too weak to get up and get out. So he's on top of it for me. And yeah, thanks, Peggy. Such a dumb question for someone to ask. Someone said that I was negative and unappreciative, though, a few live streams ago, Rocks. Literally, someone on my live streams, like, you're negative or you're unappreciative and blah, blah, blah. Take a break until you feel better. It's like, then I'll see you in a year because I got treatment for the next 6 to 7 months. That's not why I'm sharing this journey. I'm sharing this journey because we all know someone who's been through cancer. And what most people don't know is the real side effects. Like, I've looked for videos every day. I search for videos so that I can at least feel like I can relate to someone and that they relate to me, right? The one thing when you have cancer and you're going through it and it's not a good day is you want someone to understand you and you want to be seen. So at least watching videos of other people who are going through it. But a lot of them are not sharing. They're sharing when they're in good moods and they feel good. They're not sharing the real and the raw stuff of, could barely get to the bathroom. Literally, nobody's sharing. And I shit myself on the way to the bathroom. How embarrassing is that? And it happens, especially right after chemo. Thus, I have Depends because I don't want to get it all over my clothes, but it's happened. Nobody shares the humiliating, dehumanizing aspects of going through cancer treatment. You're already scared, stage 4. And that's the one thing, I was talking to one of my clients the other day. There's so many things about cancer that I didn't really know until I became a cancer patient, from mainstream, how they stage it out. And stage 4 just means that it's spread to other areas other than the original area, right? We still don't know if it's in my bone marrow. They're saying it's highly suspect, but I'm not going to let them do a bone marrow biopsy at this point because I don't want to go through that. I've watched videos of people who went through it and they've all said, never in my life do I want to go through that. It's too painful, right? Yeah. I used to think that there was one type of chemo. There are hundreds of chemo medications. For lymphoma, I'm on the R-CHOP. That's the chemo regimen I'm on with prednisone. But for lymphoma, that's only one of the chemo treatments. And it consists of several different drugs that takes 6 hours to infuse, right? When I go to chemo treatment, I'm there from 8 in the morning until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's an all-day ride of them infusing. But other people, and I go one day, all of the drugs. The second day is an auto infusion of Neulasta, which helps protect your white blood cells. And that's it for 21 days. And lymphoma responds really well to chemo. Some people, though, go 2 days on and 3 days off and 2 days on. And their regimen's different and they're on different drugs. Some people don't lose their hair because they're not on the kind of chemo drugs that you lose your hair. So I didn't realize how many different chemo drugs there were, but not all chemo drugs are the same. If you have one type of cancer, you're going to get one regimen of chemo drugs. With lymphoma, sometimes they'll do R-CHOP. That's the standard, but not always. There's other types of chemo they use for lymphoma as well. And I have large B cell, it's diffuse large B cell lymphoma. So, and it's aggressive. So the R-CHOP, I guess, is the standard for that type of cancer. But I didn't know. Did you guys know that there's that many chemo drugs? I thought there was one chemo, all chemo was created equal. No, not so much. And not all cancers react the same way to the drugs, so they have to tailor it. Yeah. Anywho. So yeah, I'm learning all kinds of things, and I feel for any of you that are going through it, whatever type of cancer you're going through. It's a tough ride, and then even once you're done with treatment, you got to go for follow-ups. And is it going to come back? I was really excited after the first round of chemo that the tumor shrank so much. The mass had gone from this huge thing down to half the size. And then the shrinkage slowed way, way down. And now I'm oh, now I'm going, okay, you got 4 left. You got to get it. It's got to take out the rest of that. Because it's in my abdominal cavity. Surgery has not, she said, no surgery, no radiation. They're just doing chemo. So she has high hopes. My oncologist has high hopes that it'll take care of it and I'll go into remission and no evidence of disease. That's the goal. I hope we get there. And I hope we get there before round 6. But even if we were to get there before round 6, she said I have to do all of them. There's no getting out of it. So just to make sure that it's gone. And then because if it is in the bone marrow, that's the other concern, that I have to make sure it doesn't come back, but those thoughts have hit me too. Like, is this it? Am I going to have to go? I don't want to go through this again. Like, I don't ever want to go through this ever again in my entire life. But if it is in fact in my bone marrow, there's a chance. I have to be super clean about my diet and everything else. But from what I understand caused this, it was environmental, not what I was eating. Like, got lots of chemicals out there. So we can be as careful as we want, and exercise and do all the things. There's still no guarantees. And that's where, like, people that have told me all kinds of different things about why I ended up with lymphoma. And it's like, you got to ignore those things. So if you're a cancer patient, like, ignore it. I don't care what disease you have, you got to ignore it. Like, so much of I think what I've heard and messages I've received, I've had to ignore it. I've had to tune it out, because everybody's got advice and everybody's got someone, like other people. I've had messages from people that are like, my so-and-so died of cancer. I'm like, that's the last freaking thing I need to hear right now. I appreciate, like, what's your point? Like, don't be sending me those messages, right? Like, I'm sorry if you lost someone to cancer. I think we all have, but like, I don't want those stories right now. And I just can't, because my mind already goes there, and it's everything I have in me to not let it stay there and circle. I mean, just looking at myself is so hard to do video. It's just looking at myself with no hair and looking at how skinny I've become and how much muscle mass I've lost. It's crazy. I put the wig on the other day and I walked into the house and my son-in-law was like, holy cow, I almost didn't realize it was you. He's like, you almost look normal. If you weren't so small right now, like, I wouldn't even know you had cancer. And I mean, that's super telling, because yeah, my muscle mass, my body mass has shrank quite a bit, and really fast, really, really fast. Thank you, Arliba, for sending prayers of healing. I appreciate it. So any of you that have messaged me, if I have not responded, I'm not purposely ignoring you. Just understand I'm not going to reply if I'm not in a good place. And I'm only doing these updates on here. A lot of people that are asking how I'm doing, I'm like, go check my Facebook feed. Like, because I don't want to have to keep repeating myself what's been going on. And I'm tapped, super tapped. Today's a decent day. Like, today's probably the best day I've had in about 8 days, energy wise. And it's still not great, but it's better than it's been. Like, I'm sitting up and I'm able to walk without assistance. I'm not feverish. I am on the pain meds, which seems to be helping. And I've been able to eat today. Right. So I guess that's a good day. I haven't been asleep all day. And I've been hanging out with my dad most of the day. My kids went to SeaWorld today, and my granddaughter, which kind of sucks because I don't get to do any of that stuff. So he and I sat in the misters, and then I went in the pool for like 15 minutes just to kind of float. And then we had to run errands, pick up prescriptions at Walmart, and go to the store and get some more fruit and stuff like that. And I was able to do that, not in the wheelchair cart, like actually walk through the store. Although I have to tell my 83-year-old dad, stop walking so fast. How scary is that? Because he gets going and I'm like, I can't keep up. Like, you got to slow down, because I get out of breath pretty fast. And the faster I walk, the faster I get fatigued. So I have to just go slow and take my time. And I have to tell him, like, Dad, please just slow down. I know, like, we're not in a hurry. Like, there's nothing going on. We don't have to do anything today. Just slow down. He's like, oh, sorry. He's used to just push, push, push. And it's not happening for me. I just can't. So I'll be back sometime after chemo while I'm on the prednisone. And I'll give you an update then. And I'll let you know what the doctor says and how things are going and how my blood work comes out. I'm keeping a watch on my blood work too. My numbers were right borderline last round of chemo, but good enough that they could do that round. So I'll be curious to see how the blood work comes out. The labs come out on Tuesday, because I've been a lot weaker this time than I was between round 1 and 2. But I have faith. I do have faith. And I know that I knew this wasn't going to be easy, but you don't know how hard it is, because it's everything. It's mental, it's emotional, it's physical, it's financial, it's social. Like, I feel so isolated and very alone a good portion of the time. And it's just the way it is. I mean, there's not much I can do about it, right? On any of those fronts. I just have to ride it as it comes. And there's not much I can do about it. Just not. So, you deal with it. But I just didn't know. You don't know how hard it is until you actually go through it. And everybody goes through it differently. And so, like, if you know someone who's going through it, man, just understand there's a lot you don't know that they're not letting anyone see, that they let out in the middle of the night or when nobody's watching. And that's kind of all I've been able to do. And then during the hardest points, I just don't even want to talk to anybody, right? Like, I just don't. Not in a mood to be cheerleaded. I don't want to hear it's all going to be okay when nobody can tell me that. And I'm sitting in a place with my body that's out of control. And I'm like, is it? Because it isn't right now. I in the overall scheme of things, do I believe it's going to be okay? I have great hope that it's going to be okay and I'm going to get through this. But I'm not going to lie and say that I believe 100% that I can get through this, because my body's it's getting hammered. Literally feel like I'm in the riptide, this cycle of waves that are just coming. And there'll be a minute where I can catch my breath, and then a whole other set of waves come and knock me on my ass. And that's been hard, because it's like there's no break, right? And if you get a break, it's like, how long is this going to last? Can I hold it? You can't make plans. I mean, it just sucks. I can't plan for any future, and tomorrow's the future. I just can't, because I don't know what my body's going to do. Just the way it goes. So, thank you. I love you guys too. And I will keep the faith, and I will champion on. I mean, as much as I keep saying to myself when I'm at my worst, like, I don't know if my body can do this. I don't know if I can do this. Like, it's so hard. I don't really have a choice. And I've made the commitment to get through it. I just pray that my body's strong enough to withstand the side effects of the chemo, because it's tough. Like, it's tough. But I'm still standing. I'm still here. I'm still going to go. So I'll let you guys know how I do sometime next week. In the meanwhile, thank you for sharing the fundraiser. Thank you for donating to the fundraiser. We're at 25% of the fundraiser goal. And we're still raising funds. Like, I'm not working nearly as what I normally do, and still got a ton of bills coming in. And I'm trying to get discounts on bills as much as I can. Like, I had the colonoscopy doctor, the gastroenterologist that did my colonoscopy and biopsy. After I filled out a financial hardship letter, they gave me a 50% discount on his bill. But so far, that's the only one that's given me a discount doctor-wise. Everyone else has just got to pay it. So, one step at a time. I'll see you guys later. Have a great weekend.